Spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Gifts to spark joy, wonder, delight, and that's exactly what I wanted feeling. Hey, y'all, I ordered a super cool piece. It's a candle with a sculpture of LSU's Tiger Stadium on top of it. And each officially licensed laser cut wooden replica features up to 4 layers of detail, creating a bird's eye view of a specific football field, seating section, and more. And every label includes your stadium's name, the team's logo, and school location. And it has a coconut, soy, vegan wax infused with sandalwood smell that creates tailgates and touchdown scent profile, reminiscent of game day. It's invigorating like fresh cut grass and nostalgic like smoke from a pre-game grill, and calming like the crisp autumn air of a new semester on campus. Y'all, I love it. I have it at the base of my TV, and I'm ready to watch the Tigers play on Saturday night, right? Uncommon Goods. Look, when you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. And many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches. So shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. They have the most meaningful, out of the ordinary gifts anywhere. They even have gifts you can personalize. From holiday hosts and hostess gift to the coolest finds for kids to hits for everyone from the book lovers to diehard sports fans. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone, not the same old selections you can just find anywhere. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/RLRC. That's uncommongoods.com/RLRC for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary.
Growing your business can mean big-time logistical questions, like how are we going to keep up with all these local deliveries? Let Uber Direct offer you a helping hand. With Uber Direct, you take orders on your website, app, or by phone. Then, drivers who are part of Uber's courier network pick them up from your store and deliver them to your customer's doorstep. Sounds simple, right? Delivery just got better with Uber Direct. Learn more at uberdirect.com.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney prior to and during any question. If you can't afford one, the court will appoint one for you. Do you understand your rights?
When the wolf is at your door, you running's over, that's for sure. He already knows all about you. Cut you down, no matter by you. Now you better walk the line. Real life, real crime.
Warning. This episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast, may contain descriptions of acts of violence or that of a sexual nature and should be for people that are 18 years or older. Heed my warning, people. I do not get the facts of these cases off of the internet or from some television show. The facts I'm retelling you were presented to me by the victims of the crimes or the perpetrators who committed the crimes against the victims. My descriptions of the crime scenes, what I saw with my own 2 eyes. If you're going to get offended, please turn this podcast off now. Thank you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And as always, I'm your host, Woody Overton. And today, I'm going to tell you one of the most disturbing episodes you're going to
going to hear some bad shit, y'all. So turn it off if you can't handle it. But real quick, before we get started, I've got to give some shout outs. One, last week we went to number 1 in the world in all podcast genres. And of course, number 1 in true crime, but number 1 overall, because a lady, I believe it's Danielle 117C, stitched me into a TikTok about sleepovers where she referenced my very first episode, which was David and Christina Constance that I did in 2019. You can go back and listen to it. Over 1 million of you have. It's horrible. The sound and everything is horrible. The editing was horrible. We were doing it off a computer back then, but that made us go viral and we went to number 1 in the world. So shout out to that. Y'all go to our TikTok, Real Life, Real Crime. I've reshared and stitched into their video also. And, you know, TikTok, I haven't really been paying attention to it, but we do have a lot of funny videos of me on there. Most of them include drinking out of town, et cetera. But go check it out. Thank y'all again for making us number 1 in the world. So all you new lifers, as that's what I call my fans affectionately, that are listening for the first time to your first Real Life, Real Crime episode, welcome aboard. I love and appreciate each and every one of y'all. Secondly, the cat's finally out the bag. Real Life, Real Crime and Woody Overton will be featured in the story on Dateline this Friday, April the 14th of 2023 at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And the story is a 2-hour story of who murdered Courtney Coco. And if you've been a lifer from the beginning, you already know, right? And that story would have never happened had Courtney's family given up, Miss Stephanie them given up, and listening to everybody saying it was accidental and whatever. But then we got it on the podcast. I did what I do and y'all did what you did. And we had to fight for more years to get this case to come conclusion. Dateline knocked it out of the park, y'all. Go tune in this Friday night. And if y'all tuned in and you're listening to this after Friday and you want to hear Real Life, Real Crime, this will be the only time I do announcements in front of the episode. I just want to welcome everybody aboard. I want to say thank you, Dateline. I want to say thank you to all lifers who helped solve that case and help bring the pressures on the powers that be. I love and appreciate each and every one of you. Now, we have Real Life, Real Crime Daily. We'll be back on this feed next week. Every Real Life, Real Crime Daily show, which with my hosts, Jim Chapman and Mike Agravino, will start out with the date. Every Real Life, Real Crime episode is going to say original. And so with that, we're going to get started. Let me tell you something. This story is so messed up. You go back and listen to the very first episode I ever did. David, I think it was called Double Clutch and Christina Constance or David Constance, whatever it is. First one I did in 2019 when my wife said, everybody loves your voice and everybody loves your stories. You need to start a podcast. I listened to the top ones in the world in true crime. I'm like, boring. They want to hear a real story. I'll tell them a real story. And that's the story I started with. And I always said in retrospect, I probably shouldn't have started with that story because it had to deal with this husband and wife team that were raping kids for over 20 years and getting away with it. And most people got offended by it. A lot of people did and turned it off. A lot of you came on board and you'll see I didn't sensationalize anything. And I just told the story, right? Well, evidently it worked. And here we are 5 years later, all the podcast awards and everything else later, but y'all are never going to believe what happened. And I got alerted by lifers that Christina Constance was up for parole. Now, evidently, the state of Louisiana has started putting these parole hearings on Zoom meetings for all the public, because they are public hearings, for all the public to hear. And I was blown away. Now, go back to what happened in this investigation. Christina came in, and I'll talk about it after the parole hearing because I had a lot of shit to say about what she said in this parole hearing. But she did come in and confess to me, right? And I worked the case from there. But the deal is, you know, I got her husband 4 life sentences. All right. It took the jury longer to pick a foreman than it did for them to come back with 4 life sentences. But that's not the case, people. That's not the entire case. Remember, they've been doing it for years and years and years. We had my partner, Brian Paul Smith, and I had so many victims that we found that these two did together. Okay. And I'm talking about rapes. All right. And grooming and rapes. And remember, I was supposed to go to the grand jury and it was going to be this big deal, right? Maybe go for the death penalty, which David Constance deserved. I believe that's still in my heart. And they didn't contact me the day before when they had the meeting with the DA. Go in, get ready for the parole hearing. The head DA stops me and says, it's not even the one that's handling the case, because she knew I was going to be pissed. She said, Woody, we're only going for some molestation charges. We don't want you to say anything about aggravated rape. Well, guess what? I went in that grand jury and I said aggravated rape, aggravated rape, aggravated rape. And I laid it out how it should have been laid out with all the victims. And I laid out all the molestations and everything else. And in part of way through that hearing, everybody in that grand jury was crying. One man slammed his hands down on the desk and said, Detective Overton, I want to know how this monster's been getting away with this for so long. And I said, that's a great question. Once you ask Madam Prosecutor, they called a break. Prosecutor left, wouldn't call the DA, and they came back, pulled me out in the hallway and said, we're going for 4 counts of aggravated rape, so leave the rest of it alone. I did it. Got him indicted, and like 9 months later, we had the trial. Now, Christina never, that's David's wife, never testified in the trial, but all the kids did. And so he gets 4 life sentences. Well, guess what she gets? She has absolutely who I consider to be the best defense attorney in Livingston Parish now, Jasper Brock, okay, or Jace Brock. And he had her as his client. And he got her a deal for 20 years. She never testified at the trial. So she didn't get any fucking bonus points for that. She never testified at the trial. After his trial was over and he got 4 life sentences and all these babies had to get on the stand and tell all that shit, she knew she was going to get the same thing because she raped them, y'all. But I'm going to talk about it at the end of this episode. But the deal being is she got 20 years with the Louisiana Department of Corrections at LCIW, it's Louisiana Correctional Institute for Women. And I caught a lot of shit in the first episode saying that, that I was just describing her. I wasn't being sexist or anything else. I said, she's not a dog, but she's not, pretty. I said, and maybe her IQ is lower. I said, probably bordering on the line of retardation. I wasn't trying to say anything wrong, people. I was just trying to give you a description. Okay. But I'm going to play this freaking parole hearing for you. Then I'm going to tell you at the end where the lies are, okay? And you decide what you think. And now there may be some pauses in y'all because this is TikTok. This is one of the most disturbing things I've ever heard. And I'm wait to the end because I'm going to tell you where she lied at. But the fact that they're even using, I know they're the victims, the only 4 they talk about in here are now adults, but the fact they use their names disturb me. But you know what? It's a matter of public record. I'm going to play this. I'm going to play this hearing. Stay tuned. It's not that long, probably 15 minutes or so. And I got some shit to tell you. Here it comes.
Parole is called back to order. The time is 9:15. Our next case is Miss Christina Constance. Miss Constance, would you please give us your full name and DOC number?
Christina Constance. 536344.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Constance, let me explain our process to you. First, I'm going to read some information into the record. Then we're going to conduct a parole interview with you. And at the end of that interview, you'll have an opportunity to be able to make a statement to the board before we vote. Do you understand our procedure?
Yes, sir.
This is the matter of Christina Constance. DOC number 536344, dated February the 6th of 1976. She's classified as a first-time felony offender. She has a parole eligibility date of October the 2nd of 2011. She is not eligible for a good time. She has a full-term date of February the 5th of 2025. She is currently serving a 20-year sentence on the charge of forcible rape. having been sentenced on March the 10th of 2008.
That's what they pleaded down to,
Ms.
y'all. It
Constance,
should have
is
been
that
aggravated rape.
basically accurate?
Yes, sir, but they got my birthday wrong.
Okay, what's your birthday?
It's January 6th of 76.
And she's
I'm sorry,
laughing,
what did I
y'all.
say?
It's funny, right?
January 6th.
Oh, it's funny.
It's correct. I misspoke. I don't know where I got it. It's January 6th of 1976. So you just had a birthday not long ago.
Yes, sir.
Is this your case? No, it's mine. Your case has been assigned to Mr. Pete Freeman. Mr. Freeman will begin our interview process. Would you please answer any questions he may have?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Miss Constance. How old are you?
I'm 47.
Okay. And how long have you served on this sentence?
17 years.
Okay. What's your educational level?
I got my GED and also I got my upholstery.
I see that. Good. Constance, give me an idea of what was going on in your life at that time. I mean, how did you find these victims? Were they related? What was their age ranges?
The victims, one of them was my son. One of them was a little girl named Josie Falgu, which was a goddaughter to my ex-husband. Now he's my ex-husband. One was her brother, which was a godson to my ex-husband. And one was a neighbor's nephew.
Okay. So what was the deal? What was causing y'all to do these types of things?
I was in an abusive marriage. I know that's not an excuse. That does not excuse anything that happens. And he brought that into our marriage because I did not do that up until I got with him. And I am very sorry for what I did in it.
What was your participation? Just briefly, not to get into detail. What was your participation? We've all read the rest.
With Tony Barnes, I had sex with him, which was wrong. I was wrong before. With Josie Falgu, I put my mouth on her bed between her legs one time. With my son, I put his penis in my mouth twice. Kenny Falgu, I had sex with him, which I was wrong for.
Okay. And how old were these boys? The ones you had sex with?
They were 14 and under.
I see you have 3 children. Do you still have contact with all of them? Or
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, how's your relationship with your son?
It is good. We have contact through my mom. I'm still writing, and he gives messages to my mom, and I get them through my mom.
You have opposition from law enforcement. The DA, Scott Paroled. Your mother is in favor of you getting out. One of your victims says you deserve a second chance. Another person says your husband was to blame. And then we have one of the victims that's a poll. That's the ones that answer. What did you learn from sex offender treatment?
How to see, let me see, how to see I'm trying to see how to put this in words. How to see how it's going to happen before it does happen.
If you had a chance to speak to your victims, what would you tell them?
I have a composition notebook. I'm not allowed to write to my victims, but I did write in my composition notebook to my victims that one of the social workers did. Can I read some of these to y'all?
Sure. Yes.
Tanya Bournes, I'm sorry for the sex I had with you. I was wrong on my part. Then you told me thank you when we were finished, like it was okay, but it wasn't. I was wrong. Please find it in your heart to forgive me. Tell your family I was wrong and I'm sorry. That was in 2001 that it happened with him. Josie Falgo, it was in 2004 when it happened with her. I know my part, what I did was wrong now. They put in my mouth on your private one time, with David holding my head. And when you went and took your bath, you were scared and wanted me to get in the tub with you. Then when we got out the tub, I lied to David and said something happened and it didn't. I am very sorry for my part in it. I can't take back what I did. I can only pray you forgive me when you can. Joseph Keaton, my son, happened in 2001. I'm sorry for putting my mouth on your penis 2 times. One time, I was forced, but the other time my head was so screwed up because everything David put me through and everything he told me, I thought it was okay at the time, but it was not right. I know that now, and you found out when we got arrested, it was not right. Kenny Falgo, 2001 and 2002. I'm writing to tell you I'm sorry for having sex with you. On my part, it was wrong because you were too young. I should have spoke up and said no, either no, we were both scared, and I would have got beat for not doing it.
All right, thank you.
Well,
Y'all, I got to pause this for a second. I'm sorry. I thought I was going to be able to play it all the way through, but I just fucking can't. One, her son was 7 years old when she did it. She, like she said, double clutch or David forced her the first time. The other 2 times she did it it's not oral sex like she's saying, it's rape. The other 2 times she freely placed her 7-year-old son's penis in her mouth and sucked it. That's rape under Louisiana law. It's penetration no matter how slight. Josie Falgo was like 10 years old or 9 years old when this happened. That she's leaving out the part about how they did lingerie shows and shit for David and all that. And she's saying she put her mouth on her vagina twice. Well, guess what? She stuck her tongue in it. Makes it rape. I'm sorry. It's harsh to hear, but it's fucking rape. It's not oral sex. A kid can't consent to having sex. Josie's brother. Now these are the godchildren of double clutch, right? Remember I told y'all in that other episode, he got these families who were just poor, good salt of earth families, and he started grooming them and like, oh, let me buy y'all supper tonight, and then they ended up calling him Godfather, and he'd get them to come into their to his house and spend the weekends. That's where he'd rape them, and she would. And she didn't have sex. She raped him at least 2 times. Clutch raped him. David Constance raped him numerous times, anally and orally also, which he's doing 4 life sentences for, which I got him. But she did it, okay? And he was like 12 or so at the time. The Tony boy, I hate to use their names, but shit, they did it. Tony Barnes was the one who tried to climb out the bathroom window when David she was naked on the bed, and he said, "Don't you want to fuck her? Don't you want to fuck her? You're a pussy if you don't want to fuck her." He told me he went in the bathroom and tried to climb out the little bitty square window in the trailer bathroom and wouldn't fit, and he ended up doing it, going out there and being raped by her. I understand he put his penis inside of her. David Constance helped him get erect and all that and guided him her, but guess what? She laid there and she let him do it. Fact. Okay. Facts. And now stay tuned to the end, because I got to tell you about more victims that they weren't even prosecuted on. But don't let this motherfucker sit here and say, oh, 14 and under. Yeah. 14 all the way down to 7 is your own birth child. All right. Continuing, and I apologize for interruptions. I just fucking losing my shit here, man. Continue.
What's to be your transition plan if you were to be successful? Where are you going to live?
I'm going to my mom's in Bogalusa.
All right, I got to pause it. Hold on.
Hold
on. Listen to this. Remember when she said that she couldn't, he said, "Do you still have contact with your son?" And, "Oh, yeah, I write him and I go through my mom. My mom gives the message. He gives messages to my mom to give back to me." Then when she goes to read, they ask her about, what would you say to your victims? She admits that I'm not supposed to have any contact with my victims, but I've been writing it down in this book. So let me read y'all what I wrote. She's already been having contact with the victims, her own son. It's fucking wrong. And she raped him, knew it at least 3 times that we know of. And she's admitting in a fucking parole hearing that she's already violated her conditions of her plea bargain. And I mean, it's just fucking painful, man. And again, stay tuned at the end. I'm going to try not to interrupt again. I had to say that.
Drug problem? Were you using drugs when this happened?
Yes, sir.
What kind of drugs were you using?
Meth and weed.
Okay.
Never any proof of that, y'all, in my investigation. Never any proof of that.
I was 25.
What kind of classes have you taken to address that problem?
Substance abuse and
Celebrate Recovery.
Celebrate Recovery. Life Worth Living is a stroke class also. Life Healing Choices.
Making for change. Yeah, I think making for change. You take quite a few classes, which is good. And just been sitting there idle. Warren, when I looked at her write-ups, I didn't see them in the folder. At one place it said she had 26, but I didn't see what the charges were.
Yes, sir. It is 26 charges. The last write-up was a Schedule A, and that was in December of 2016.
16. So she's been disciplinary pretty good since 16.
Yes, sir.
Anything else you would like to say, Warren?
No, I was just going to note, one, obviously about her write-ups with her disciplinary report. She obviously caught some traction in 2016, whether that was after the Life Healing Choices class that she mentioned. And she has really taken quite a bit of self-help classes and kind of focused, with her getting her GED and focusing on upholstery. So hopefully, if she is released, seems to be a pretty good support system, and I know our family would be happy to have her back.
I see y'all have a mental health plan. Do you have someone there that can address that with me?
I don't have a mental health worker in here right now. Is there a specific question?
Hey, ladies, are you feeling overwhelmed by hormonal changes? Well, you're definitely not alone. There are more than 1,000 hormone disruptors living in our environment right now. It's in your food, your water, the air you breathe, the clothes you wear, your skincare products. They all mess with your hormones. Then there's the natural hormone changes your body goes through, premenopause, menopause. And while it's a natural process, it doesn't mean you have to suffer through it. The good news is you don't have to suffer through it anymore because now you have Hormone Harmony, a formula made only with herbal ingredients that are shown to reduce hormonal symptoms in women of all ages. Hormone Harmony is not just a hormone support and supplement. It's become a phenomenon. Women can't stop talking about it on social media. A bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds. And the biggest benefit? Well, my wife says it makes her feel like her own self again. And that's what women mention over and over in the reviews. And there are over 30,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. And for a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use code RLRC at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC for 15% off today. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC. Hey y'all, let me tell you about Gobble. All Gobble meal kits are pre-prepped. That means less work for you and less waste in your kitchen. Their meal kits include everything you need so you can save time at the store or just skip that trip entirely. I got the box in and I had 3 different meals. I had a Kung Pao chicken, crispy fish tacos, and a beef bourguignon, however you say it. But let me tell you about the classic beef bourguignon. Look, it came with beef pot roast and a beef broth concentrate, red wine demi-glaze, cremini mushrooms, cipollone onions, mashed potatoes, baby carrots, and rosemary thyme butter. It was so easy to make. Literally like 15 minutes it took Cindy. And let me tell you something, all the dishes were fire, but this thing was like a taste explosion in my mouth. It's just unreal. We got to spend more time together and more time doing the things we love because everything came in this one single box right to my door. So see what a difference Gobble will make for your household. Right now, they're offering my listeners a fantastic limited time deal. You get $120 off across 4 boxes plus free shipping and free cookies. And let me tell you, those cookies, I ate one that was sin-baked and it was delicious. Go to gobble.com/reallife. That's GOBBLE.com/real life for $120 off your first 4 boxes. This offer is not available on the home site, so don't miss out. This is genius. It's taste explosions in your mouth like you never had.
You have, obviously she, is noted she is a mental health level of care 3 and on medication. So we will make sure that she is set up with an appointment prior to release in her local town.
Yeah, it just said mental health plan will be set up by LCI though.
Yes, sir. So we'll make sure she'll leave with 30 days worth of her mental health medication, a prescription for another 30, and then she'll have an appointment set up prior to release.
I've been working with Kingsbury and all that.
Hey, that's all the questions I had.
I have one or two. Yeah. Constance, you've done good. You're doing real good today. I know you're nervous, but you're doing good. Take me back to the day that you went to the police department yourself and told them y'all. What happened that day? What triggered that?
My conscience.
You weren't high that day. You were clear. You weren't no drugs, anything.
No, ma'am. I stopped everything and I clear-minded and I had a chance to think and I had a chance to talk to a friend of mine where I was staying. I left David
Okay.
I was talking to Kim, a friend of mine at the time, and she sat down and talked to me, and I went to the police. She brought me to the police department, and she told me before we went, she said, you know, you could be arrested. I said, I'm okay with that.
Got to pause it. All right, listen to this. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. The truth of the story is she was saying with her friend Kim, who had a teenage son. The teenage son brought a note to her, and it said, hey, Clutch said I could fuck you. When's it going to be okay for us to do it? Now, I'm using a teenager's words on a note because I saw it, not mine. The mom finds it. Kim finds the note and is like, what the fuck, Christina? You going to fuck my son? And she was like, yeah, but David and I do it. And David said it was okay. And Kim got up in that ass and was like, you need to tell somebody. I'm bringing you to the police station. So now she's making like, oh, I wanted to clear my conscience. You know, I was clear-headed and I just want to stop it. Bullshit. She got busted getting ready to fuck another kid. Rape another kid. I'm sorry. I mean, no fucking involved here, people. It's just absolute rape.
Although you had left, you were concerned about the kids because there was his godson and his goddaughter. They won't still be around him. That's what you were concerned about. And
bullshit.
You had to put a stop to that.
Yes, ma'am.
That speaks volumes. I want some clarity on that.
It's a fucking
the
lie.
last hearing you had, you were asked to continue in the AA and get involved in the mentoring. Did you have an opportunity to do any mentoring?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us about that.
I was mentoring in Celebrate Recovery, Life's Healing Choices, and Hannah's Gift.
Good. When you speak to that, how was she? What did you hear about her mentoring? How was that?
More on like the facilitation since she had taken the classes and then kind of go back into the class and mentor some of the other ladies who are fresh and new to the class.
Oh, I got you. All right. Thank you. That's all I had, Jim.
Thank you. We do have two people here in support of you. Your mom, Shirley Keaton, and Stephanie Phelps, your sister. Are they present?
Yeah, they don't end up showing.
No?
They're not there.
They're in Zoom.
Are they on Zoom?
Mm-hmm. I don't see them up there. No. They're on Zoom. Aren't they? Mm-mm.
That's it.
That's their audio, not mine. They're looking for them to get in the Zoom. They're not there. Again, we're waiting on them to get in the Zoom. They're not there. I just want you.
With y'all, is your mom and your sister there with y'all? Do you know?
No, sir. They weren't able to make it.
They weren't able to make it. Oh, okay. Okay. Is there anything you'd like to say, Ms. Constance, before the board votes?
These 17 years I have been incarcerated, I think sometimes now that my head is cleared, that I would rather have taken a beating than hurt these kids the way I did. But back then, my head was not right to make any choices. Every day I regret what I did. And if I could go back and change it, I would. Now that I have a right, clear head, I'm not trying to make excuses for what I did back then. I'm just writing what's on my heart and in my head. Before I reoffend, I will ask God to show me my sins before I fall again. I feel bad about myself that I have hurt these kids mentally, emotionally, and security. What I mean about security is their trust with adults. They can't get around someone and think that they won't be hurt again. I so wish I could take back everything I did that was my part in it. I am no longer mentoring others. They took that away from me because of my help. This is after I was mentoring that my health got bad. but it's better now. I had kidney problems, but they're 60% healed right now. So if y'all will grant me, I could go home and go to a kidney doctor on the streets and get everything straight.
Thank you very much, Constance. We appreciate your comments. Is the panel ready to vote? Mr. Freeman?
Okay, Constance, I'll be point blank with you. Your crime was very, very serious, very heinous. Hurt a lot of people. I do think you're remorseful for it. You did come forward and go to the sheriff's office. But it's still, like I say, it's scarred a lot of people. But on the other hand, I look at it, and I want you on supervision. I don't want you being released full time without nobody to make you go to your mental health appointments and without anybody to make sure you attend your sex offender classes. So my vote today is to grant, and with the condition that you follow all recommendations from the mental health group and attend those sex abuse classes, which will be in the contract.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Ms. Wise?
Constance, you did a great harm. You know. I appreciate hearing that today. You've healed yourself, and you've been helping others. And that's all I can ask. And in the words of one of your victims, he said, thank you for getting him out of it, for what you got in his life. And he said you were addicted to. So one of your victims said he saw that you were addicted to. But you were a brave victim, very brave. And I want you to continue that bravery and on the other side. My vote is to grant too, and I concur with the special conditions that's been outlined. That's what you see.
Thank you.
Constance, you have 2 votes to grant your parole. I concur with my colleagues for all of your safety. The crime was horrible. You know that. You accept the responsibility for that. And you are on your way. So my vote likewise is to grant the same conditions. So good luck to you.
Thank you all so much.
Okay, people. Holy shit. I got so many things I want to say. One, it's not the parole board's fault. Okay. My mama used to be on the parole board under, I believe it was Governor Edwards, maybe Governor Romer, and my mother's an attorney, and she used to come home every night with like 50 stacks of case files of the people they were going to hear the next day. And she took it serious, and she would read through them, but they could only read what's in the file. Same thing they're doing. They read what's in the file, which is the pled down shit to forcible rape, which it should have been aggravated rape, but that's due to Jasper Brock being a great attorney. But they don't know about the rest of the victims. And I'll tell you one that pops on mine. And this girl was 18 by the time I found her. And Christina told me about all these victims. And this girl, the Clutch, David Constance got Christina to have full on, it's rape, y'all. It's not oral sex. Full on rape / sex with this girl in front of Clutch while he masturbated him. When he went to join in, the girl said she didn't want him in. She just wanted to do it with Christina. Okay? It's still fucking rape. She was like 15 at the time. And this is years later when I'm interviewing. You got to understand, a lot of these people I interviewed were grown by now. They had been doing this forever. Christina was one of his first victims. He used to date Christina's older sister, and while he was dating her, he was grooming Christina and started out with her when she was like 12. And they ran away together, and he got arrested. And I know that is the only charge he ever caught in his entire life, besides the charges I stuck up his ass. and it was for contributing to the delinquency of juvenile, whatever. And he ends up marrying Christina. I get that. I get she was groomed. I get that she was brought along into it. I get that David was the mental giant in the house. I get that. And David used her. But you know what? Fuck, she was almost 30 years old when I arrested her and was still doing kids. It's not like she was still 12 or 15 or 16 or 17 or 18 or even in her young 20s, man. They've been doing this forever, over 20 years. And yes, David was using her to lure in victims. He didn't care if it was a girl or female because he's a sick punk who's now doing 4 life sentences at bloody Angola, Louisiana State Penitentiary in Angola. But the parole board members, all they see are these 4 charges. And then she sugarcoats it, right? And even though she violates herself by saying, yeah, I still have contact with my son. Well, you're not supposed to, right? And even though it's through her mother, and then she just fucking lied. And you know what? I'm sure that she, and I'm glad she went to classes and all that. In 26 years, she got, in 17 years, she got, 26 write-ups? Okay. In 2016, she's starting to straighten herself out in prison. Well, good for her. You shouldn't have been in prison to begin with. Right? I mean, that's just a fucking fact, y'all. I'm not making these up. And the fact that the parole board gets to hear these things in a limited scope, and they got a lot of more people waiting for parole here in that day. And Christina Constance got fucking paroled. And y'all, this was just like 2 months ago. Okay? Like 2 months ago. Now, guess what? I guess she's going to get out and get work as an upholsteress. That's what she got her degree in. She won't be resurfacing any of my shit. And the board members, fuck that, I don't wish bad on anybody. But she won't be at my house, even though, I want y'all to check this out. I've never told this before. For the years after I got her sentence, or not her sentence, because Clutch got sentenced and then she got sentenced. I wasn't called into court for her sentencing. It was just another day for me. I'm doing whatever. She took a plea bargain and there was no need for me to be there. But she used to send a letter every year at Christmas addressed to me, to the sheriff's office, and ask me, say, hey, Mr. Woody, I'm doing fine. Hope you're doing well. Will you please make sure my son has a good Christmas this year? And I sure do appreciate you and blah, 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 whatever, right? Short letter every year, same thing. Does that make her a good mom? Sure it does. But what about the mom who raped that 7-year-old? Once he made her do it. Twice she admits that she just did it freely and on her own. In my entire investigation, there was never a mention of meth or marijuana. Maybe they were doing it. We missed it. I seriously doubt it. Just mind-blowing. Anyway, she's on the street. Be warned. Christina Constance, from my very first episode in 2019, is on the street. Paroled. And now I know she's going to have to do sex offender registration, whatever neighborhood she moved in and everything. But don't listen to this bullshit. Oh, I want to clear my conscience. I want to go talk to Detective Overton because I want to clear my conscience. No, you got busted about to rape another kid. You were gone from your husband. Kid gives you the note, says your husband says, in his words, y'all, because I've read the thing, I can F you. But it said, fuck it, it's my show, I'm going to say it. He said, Clutch says, I can fuck you. When can we do this? The mama finds it and confronts her, gets in her shit, and thank God that the mom had the decency to bring her to the sheriff's office and introduce me. And this story, still telling it today. She's on the street 3 years early. She'd have got out anyway, right? In 2026 or 2025, whenever. But I don't know what to think about that, man. I mean, but I don't like the lies. Maybe she's conditioned herself mentally over all these years in prison that since this is the only thing I was charged with, this is the only thing I did. Why do you think there was a year difference between these charges that I had for him? 2001 to 2004, whatever, to 2003. You think they stopped? You think Double Clutch stopped using his wife and they stopped raping babies? Hell no, they didn't. Some of them were right on the edge of that age range. Then we found them. Hell, they were married now. And some of them had kids of their own. They had careers. They didn't want to get involved in this shit show. And you know, so they cherry picked the best four. She pleads out to the sweetheart deal of all times, and she's free today. Christina Constance walks free. Wow. Holy shit. She won't be babysitting anybody that I know. All right, let's do this. I had so much more to say on it. It's just wild. It's crazy. Y'all protect your babies, right? Just like that TikTok last week when we went viral, it was about sleepovers, and it was actually about this couple. That's what's so crazy. And here we are, and I'm telling you about the conclusion on that. Now, let me tell you about David Double Clutch Constance. He's up in Angola doing his 4 life sentences, and y'all, that means he's going to die there. It's a death sentence. There's no chance of parole. He'll never get a parole hearing like she did. She got sentenced to 20 flat. There's no good time on the sex offender part. So she was eligible to start coming up for parole. And obviously they turned her down before. This time they let her go. But Double Clutch, David Constance, hey, if y'all were listening in Angola, I heard he's telling everybody that it's all his wife's fault, that he's totally innocent. He's never touched a kid. And his wife, they were going through a bad divorce, so she went to the sheriff's office and lied on him, right? I also heard he's a preacher man. So if you're up there at Angola and you're listening, David Constance is a convicted 4 times. It should have been 400 times. 4-time convicted aggravated rapist of babies, including his own. Give him some inmate justice. He doesn't deserve to breathe. That dude deserved the death penalty. I don't care how you feel about the death penalty. If anybody, you talk about evil existing in this world, that dude is evil, period. And he had been doing it forever. He had been doing it before Christina. Smart though, y'all. He's not a dummy. He's not as dumb as he looks. I can tell you that. And it's hard to catch a smart criminal. But I called him. And I got the conviction after they won. If we'd have dropped them down to these molestations and shit they tried to push on me that day before the grand jury, you know they would have been out already. They'd have pled that shit down from there and pled it down. They might have got 5 years or 10 years or whatever. Hell, it's been 17 years since the trial time. So longer than that since I got them. But anyway, fuck it, I'm going to get off my horse. I want to remind y'all again, the Dateline NBC, Friday, April the 14th, 2023, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Who murdered Courtney Coco? Y'all, it's going to be a great story. It's a horrible story, but it has a great theme, if you will, on never giving up, and how a podcaster and his fans can help bring conclusion to a case that was frozen. So y'all go check it out, please. And go download our free Real Life, Real Crime Community app. The reason why I say that, y'all, it has so much more real life, real crime stuff in it, from news to chat forums to games to whatever. Our merchandise store has all the episodes on there and everything else. Guess what? I'm the only one that censors it. Okay, so if you get censored by me, you got to be really an asshole. Now, like our Real Life, Real Crime friends and crew page on Facebook, the private group. Today is over 39,000 members. And I got all these other social media pages and Facebook. I get locked out every single week, and I'm not doing anything wrong, right? And sometimes I'm trying to share too much to all my different pages, and they lock me out. Go to the app. I'm answering everybody in the app first before I go to Facebook. So if you want to send me emails and do all that, it's woody@realliferealcrime.com, or go to the app. It's that easy. Our explosion, we've always had great numbers. Y'all have always helped us grow, but going to number 1 in the world, props up again to everybody that listened. Now, I hope, you would, I can't say enjoyed this episode, but this is real life, real crime, y'all. This is not something I read about on the internet. This is something I lived. Okay? This is real shit. Real people, lives got destroyed. Real babies that got raped. But on the Real Life Real Crime feed also is going to be my other show, Real Life Real Crime Daily, which I co-host with Mike Agravino and Jim Chapman. And look, it's straight up true crime news 3 times a week. No more political bullshit. None of that on there. It's stories. Some of them make you cry. Some of them make you laugh. But I love it. I love doing it. And so y'all check out that. It's going to be on the feed. Patreon and Convicts. Thank you. You're getting 2 bonus episodes this week, 2 locked up. And one of them is kind of short, and one of them is like 48 minutes long. So I could not have done the Courtney Coco investigation without your financial support. This show would not run without your financial support. Patreon members, y'all can go to Patreon, look up Real Life Real Crime. If you want to subscribe there, we get all kinds of bonuses and different tier levels and everything else. Early, commercial-free early releases, bonus episodes, all this different stuff. Depends on what level you want to be on. In the app, we call them our subscribers convicts. Same thing, same benefits. It's just through the app, and that's it. So I love and appreciate each and every one of y'all. I've been on a high like you can never believe. That we finally got the recognition I believe this show deserves, and I believe y'all as fans deserve, lifers, because you are the best in the world. The national article that came out years ago calling y'all cult-like following, well, they can call you whatever they want to, as long as y'all continue to back me, because I love and I appreciate each and every one of you, and I thank you for everything that you've done for us to get to this point. And it's amazing, isn't it? Right? From what we started. And Louisiana Organ Procurement Agency, y'all know they're my jam. Shane McBride and Missy Jewell have started the YouTube channel just about LOPA. Y'all need to go look that up. Subscribe to it. So they interviewed Lori Steele, who's LOPA's spokesperson last week, and she's also the one who gets on stage at the Crew Bash every year and helps with the drawings and everything else. She's an absolute love, right? And she loves LOPA. I love LOPA. She's the reason I took it up. If you want to be an organ donor, you don't have to be from Louisiana. LOPA stands for Louisiana Organ Procurement Agency. You can be from anywhere in the world. You could be from China. Go to lopa.org. Take 2 minutes, fill out the little thing, become an organ donor, give the gift of life and sight and help and everything else. And y'all, LOPA takes care of these families, of these donors after the fact. And it's just a beautiful nonprofit organization. That's why I sponsor them. And I'll close every episode with it. Please go like and subscribe and share Real Life, Real Crime. Check out our TikTok, our Instagram, all that good podcast stuff I'm supposed to say. LOPA, we love you. And I'm Woody Overton, your host of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And until next time or ever, don't let me catch you down on Murder Bayou. Peace.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney prior to and during any question. If you can't afford one, the court will appoint one for you. Do you understand your rights?